Starting at Rs 11,000, you get a 90Hz display, a monstrous 6000 mAh battery, a true 48 megapixel camera, and first phone in this segment to feature a 8nm chipset. It's the Galaxy M12, Samsung's latest M series phone in the entry-level segment. Now, in the description, I'm going to leave a lot of important information in terms of specifications, features that are available or not available, and a link to purchase or get notified when the sale starts, so definitely use that. I'll also leave a link in the description to download all the camera samples that I took using this phone. And now let's get on with the review. In the box, you only get a 15-watt charger, a Type-C cable, and the ejection pin. You don't get any protective case, no pre-applied screen protector, and no earphones. These are all costs that you will have to incur after you purchase the device. The build is all plastic at the back, housing a quad camera setup. The back is interesting. It sort of has a nostalgic design and has some sort of edged pattern, which actually provides for a better grip to say the least. But this isn't a great looking phone in my opinion. And there have been many M series phones in the past that actually look better. It's definitely a thick device, but it also houses a 6000 mAh battery. And for that, I believe it's a pretty good compromise. The phone's definitely on the wider side and wouldn't be so easy to use with just one hand. The power and lock key doubles as the fingerprint sensor. So it has a physical fingerprint sensor, which honestly it's a lot faster, a lot more reliable, and I actually prefer that over the in-display fingerprint sensors. The SIM card tray can support 2 SIM cards and 1 microSD card, all 3 at the same time. You also get a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is a rare sight nowadays. But this phone is not about design, it's about the 90Hz display, it's about the true 48 megapixel camera, the 8nm chipset, and the 6000 mAh battery. So let's start by talking about display. You get a 6.5-inch LCD display, but with a 90Hz refresh rate. And about a year or two back, 90Hz was only found in high-end devices starting with OnePlus, but now you get them in entry-level smartphones, which is quite nice. However, 90Hz on this phone may not feel smooth at certain moments. For example, let's say when the page has not loaded and it's still loading information or images or video thumbnails, the processor sort of gets occupied doing that and the refresh rate drops down and it's not as smooth as you expect it to be. But if the phone is not running any intense process, you get a super smooth scrolling experience. The only minor issue that I had with the display was that it's not bright enough. So the peak brightness is 400 nits, which I think is not quiet enough. You know, even when I was taking pictures outdoors, the photos on the phone looked a little dull, although they're not. You'll see in the samples that I show a little ahead in the video. So if you've got a lot of outdoor usage, you might actually have issues if it's really bright and sunny outside. So just keep that in mind. And even though it's not Super AMOLED, LCD displays have come a long way too and are quite capable. Colors look natural, if not too punchy, and not something you'd notice unless you place it next to a Super AMOLED display. Next, we come to the performance and on the new chipset that is being used in this phone. This is the first phone to use Samsung Exynos 850, which is built on the 8nm chipset, which means not that it's going to be super fast in terms of performance, but it's going to have very power efficient usage. It's just going to consume less power. So a 6000 mAh battery in this phone is going to be a lot more battery efficient than most other phones in this segment that have 6000 mAh battery. But of course, you definitely get more powerful processors that are more capable of multitasking features and faster or smoother gaming. While the game load is slow on the M12, but once it does, gaming isn't that bad at all. The large 90Hz display and the 6000 mAh battery would do their best to deliver a fun gaming experience as well. But regular usage is not as snappy. It's not like you tap on something and instantly things will happen. It's an entry-level smartphone with a processor that's just about decent for daily tasks. Let's also touch upon the software real quick. The phone ships with Android 11 One UI Core 3.1 right out of the box. And we all know that One UI Core 3.1 is more about basic One UI functionalities and has limited features. A lot of One UI features that are not in the core version are also because the hardware cannot support those features. There are a bunch of preloaded apps that you can remove if you want. There's also inbuilt FM radio that can be used when you have wired or wireless earphones connected to the phone. And now let's talk about the camera. It's got a quad camera setup with specs as you see on the screen and an 8 megapixel front-facing camera. But quickly, let me just show you a few samples that I took using the primary camera. Interestingly, unlike other 48 megapixel cameras that use software to produce a 48 megapixel picture, this camera rearranges pixels in a more uniform manner to achieve true 48 megapixels in the picture. Now, on the left, you've got photos from the primary lens, and on the right, you've got those from the ultra-wide lens, so you can get a quick comparison between the field of view, as well as dynamic range and color accuracy. I find the primary camera to be a bit warmer in tone while compared to that of the ultra-wide. The ultra-wide lens has a slightly better dynamic range, though the difference is not too much. And again, just a few more samples so you get that idea. And again, download them so you can actually compare the quality and evaluate for yourself. And then I took some shots using the depth sensor. They're not absolutely on point, and it does take a while to really get that lock, but it works nonetheless. And these are some macro shots. Now I've expanded them by 150% because this entire video is shot using 4K resolution, and the macro lens does not take super high resolution shots that can fit a 4K display. So I've expanded them by 150%, so there might be some loss, but again guys, just download it and evaluate for yourself. And regarding available camera modes, you get the portrait photo, you get macro, of course you get video, and if you go into more, you'll see just a few additional ones, which is pro photo, panorama, and food, nothing else. And even within pro mode, you can only alter the white balance and the ISO. That's pretty much it. And when it comes to video, you can only shoot up to 30 FPS, up to 1080p video resolution. That's about it. And now let's talk about that battery. So 6000 mAh is big, right? And 6000 mAh on this phone is definitely going to last you longer than 6000 mAh on any other phone in this price segment, just because of that really power efficient CPU or the 8nm chipset that you have. Having said that, you can easily pull through the entire day without worrying about battery at all, despite very high usage. Moderate use, 2 days. And if you moved your refresh rate down to 60 Hz on the phone, which you have the option to, I think you can almost pull it off for 2.5 to 3 days. We'll see about that. So to conclude, keeping design aside, if you're looking for a smooth, high refresh rate display and a really battery efficient phone with a decent camera, the Galaxy M12 is a pretty good phone to consider in this price segment. All right, that's it from me on the M12. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments section below. And as I said, guys, do look in the description. There's a lot of info out there for you, so definitely check that out before you post any question. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon. I'll see you guys in the next one.